awe. And in the work that we've been doing over the last 3 or 4 years, I've come to a true appreciation, maybe not a full appreciation, but a greater appreciation of how important the brain is and just how sensitive it is, especially in children. And really, I look at a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old running up and down, and I look at the parents and I say, you don't know how lucky this child is, how lucky you are to have a child that can run up and down. Because what we found out is that even the slightest thing going wrong during pregnancy, during birth, after delivery, the slightest thing can go wrong. And once that happens, boom, yes, you're dealing with a child who is going to be held back in some cases for the rest of their lives. But we've been fortunate in understanding, because of what we know about how to improve brain function, how to improve the function of the physical body. We've been fortunate to be able to make a difference. And really, that's why we set up the Brain and Body Foundation, not just to educate, as we're doing right now, but also to support, not treat now, because you treat a disease. What we use, the approach we use is called the building strength approach. And basically it means that the physical brain has its own potential to fix itself, to repair itself, to restore itself, to regenerate itself, if given the right tools, if given the right environment, if given the right nutrition. And so that's the approach we started using, and it's going on, gosh, well, 4 years now. 4 years. 2015, that's going on 5 years, when we really started and we started seeing that we could make a difference, especially in Nigeria, where, as you know, we don't have enough access to health care. 200 million people, 70% of childbirths do not occur in a hospital or under the expert care of a physician. So there's a lot that can go wrong. But we're fortunate to help to make a difference, and we're hoping that we can help to spread this information around the country. On our show today, we have not a physician, not a doctor, but actual parents who brought their child to the foundation, and they've come to talk about their story and more importantly, talk about how you, as a new parent, can take better care of your child, give you a sense of hope if you're going through a similar experience, and altogether just, give you some kind of wisdom and direction. So without further ado, we're going to say take a listen to this video, and we'll be right back. Okay, so I'm here with, what's his name again? Darius Dominic. All right, so case of hypoxic encephalopathy, I believe. First, let's speak here with HIE. Why do I keep forgetting what that means? Anyway, problem with the brain. What could he not do before? He's been on omega 3s.
Yeah. So he couldn't try to sit up by himself, standing up by himself.
He couldn't stand up by himself.
Yes. Well, right now he can stand. When he grabs something, he tries to stand.
Okay.
He can stand. Even when he's lying down, he can sit up. But before, he will just be rolling until you carry him up by himself before he will sit. Right now, when he's lying down, he wants to sit down. He will sit up by himself.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And he was on a capable and what before? Fish oils.
Yeah, physiotherapy.
And physiotherapy.
Yeah.
And did you get this, and cod liver oil? Did you get this kind of response before? Or this
No, not really.
No. So you're saying the only thing that made the difference now is what?
The difference is now he's sharp. His brain is sharp, and all this sitting up, trying to grab something and standing up. And he can, when you hold him, he will walk, he will play ball. When you're holding him, he will run around with the ball.
Really?
Yes.
And he wasn't doing this before?
No.
Welcome back. All right, with me in the studio today is Mr. Dominic Darius and his wife Mirabel Darius and their wonderful child Darius. You're welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for making it. I know it's been hard. It was hard to take time out of your busy schedule to come over here, so we really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's my pleasure too.
And we've folks, we've actually become good friends since when they started coming. When did you guys first come over?
November 2018.
November 2018. Whew. So that's over a year ago. All right, so let's start from the beginning. Darius is how old now?
He's 2 years and 7 months.
Okay, and when he first came to the clinic, he couldn't hold his neck up. What was the situation?
When he first comes to the clinic, he can't sit without support.
Okay.
Yes, so it was after the medications that he started sitting.
Okay. Well, let's go back a little bit because I want people to relate to your experience. I know yours is certainly not unique at all. You had attended you had attended antenatal clinic.
Yes.
You were taking your medications.
Yes.
Were you ill at all during the
No.
pregnancy?
No.
Okay. So everything was going on all right until the
Yes.
time you started having contractions.
Yes.
And it was time to go to the hospital.
Yes.
So what happened?
So the time for me to go to the hospital, it was in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to the hospital, the PSC there. There's
PNC.
there's no hospital, there's no doctor on call. So we are calling no pick. So
You were calling, they weren't picking up the calls?
Yes, no one was picking the call. So I just have to give birth at home.
Okay.
So it was after I gave birth to him that he came out. He was not breathing, he was not crying, as if he's a stillbirth. But we just said, let's try our best. We use mucus extractor to extract some mucus from here, and up to nothing like bread or nothing like pulse.
It was Dominic that was doing that?
Yes, he was the one using the mucus extractor.
Yeah.
So after that, like an hour and 20 minutes, that was when he now sneezed. He now took a breath and stopped again. We're like, hey, he's actually alive. We started adding more efforts to see that he revived. So after that, he now started crying. But as he started crying, he didn't stop. He was just trying continuously till in the morning. We rushed him to the hospital. We were told that he's stressed at birth. So they gave him injections and we went back home.
All right.
So upon that, he was still crying till in the middle of the night of the second day. That was when he stopped crying. We thought he was actually sleeping. So before, as for me, I was stressed out because of the labor and delivery. So I slept off. He was the one that woke up and saw him jacking for breath.
Jacking?
Yes. He was actually jacking for breath. He woke me up. Is this how this baby is supposed to breathe? I was like, no, this is not normal. And that was around that kind 10 o'clock in the night.
Okay.
So we rushed to the hospital. That was when they referred us to other hospitals, and he was put on oxygen for 3 days. And that was
it seems like he had a seizure.
Yes, he has a seizure
During that time, okay.
Yes.
I was in oxygen for 3 days.
Yes, he was in oxygen for 3 days, and that was when he came out. They brought him out. They took the oxygen off, and the diagnosis, the tests, everything was taken, and they found out that he has birth asphyxia.
Birth asphyxia.
Yes.
Okay. Real quick, birth asphyxia in layman's terms is that there was damage to the brain and other organs because of lack of oxygen. There was a cutoff of the flow of blood and oxygen to the brain and other parts. Okay.
So we started appointments, going and coming every day, every month. We come. Sometimes they will tell us to come a week later. We come back, and the drugs we are administering one drug like that, Senfabor, for the brain, and multivitamins and cod liver oils, and so it got to the time a point that after the drugs, nothing, even therapists for the legs, because he cannot hold his head, his neck, he cannot sit, he cannot do anything, just that he's alive. But normal, as a child is going, you see development, nothing like that. So that was when the doctor now referred us to Brain and Body Foundation.
The pediatrician?
Yes.
Referred you to Brain and Body Foundation.
Yes.
Wow, that's good. Pediatricians, are you hearing? Okay.
So that was when we came out. By that time, he's a year and 5 months.
Okay. And at that time, he could not do what?
Sit down.
He couldn't sit down.
He can't hold his neck. He can't control his hands. And that was...
He couldn't hold on to objects or anything like he's doing right now?
No.
Okay.
So as started coming, we are on the medications.
They're not medications. We don't give him medications. No. What do we call them?
Supplements.
Supplements is the general term. Yes.
So he started taking them. Within a month or two, started seeing changes. Yes.
What changes were those?
He started sitting down.
By himself?
By himself, without support. I started seeing that his neck, he's holding it, and his head, he can control it a little bit. That was when we were like, this drug is actually working. We continued.
Not drugs.
The medications, the supplements is actually working. So we continued coming, and here we are today. He can walk, he can sit, he crawled very well, he can run right now. In fact, he's in school right now.
No way.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
So he's in a normal class?
Yes, a normal class.
He's keeping up with the classwork,
yes,
and he's following with everything going on?
Yes.
How's his speech?
His speech is clear because immediately he comes back from school, he'll start telling me what the songs they sang. He starts singing and dancing, jumping. In fact, he's lively now. That's
amazing.
Yes.
When he first came, was he able to mention any words or anything like that?
He can't
Not
talk
at all.
at that time.
At 1 year, 5 months.
Yes.
So at that time, he's the fourth of.
Yes.
Fourth of them.
Fourth of them. Yes.
Are you sure? The last?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, that's the plan.
That's the plan. There you go. Okay, so he's the last of 4 children.
Yes.
At 1 year, 5 months, were your other kids? What were they say? What were they able to say at that time?
They can call mommy. They can say daddy. They can talk at that time.
They could ask you for things.
Yes, because my children at the age of 9-10 months they've started working.
They're working and,
yes.
and active.
And before a year they started talking. But most of them a year, 4 months, I'll put them in school.
All right.
Yes.
So let me ask you this. Some may argue and say, well, he was just a little delayed, that these improvements would have happened anyway. What would you say to that?
Yeah, actually, humanly we thought, but if you check what happened before we got to Brains and Body Foundation, like the processes, he couldn't sit, he can't even hold his body like while seated, just to take a snap. But after we came to Brain and Body Foundation and those supplements were administered to him, the speed in growth was totally different. Yeah, so the therapies we've been going through, the whole improvement was quite different. The speed was clear that this is faster, as slow as it seems. But compared to before we came, it was evident that we just have to continue with this. Yeah.
And that's really when you came over, because rarely do we have fathers coming to the center. It's usually the mothers that are the ones always concerned about their kids.
Yeah, I told her that I need to go see this place and, probably interact with these people. And then I was moved by seeing other children. Most of the people that brought their own kids there, they were like, wow, we shouldn't be here because of the improvement they saw on the child. I was like, no, I know how my kids develop. So this one is quite different. But they're like, yeah, but compared to the rest, you are like, but you are new here. Start this, and then you will testify just the way we are testifying.
Yeah, and I noticed too, Mirabel, you began to be like a mother of Israel kind of thing, always comforting and encouraging the people who are friendly with so many other people and all that. So, and as a matter of fact, Dominic has his own. You have a TV camera business.
Yeah, I run a multimedia company that's independent, and then I thought, okay, I saw your staff taking pictures with
their cell phones.
With cell phones. I was like, okay, if I am in charge of something like that, why don't I just make an offer, since we're getting all this for free? So I thought it's an opportunity to take and also deliver my own services for free too.
Yes.
Because so I made an offer and
I jumped at it. I jumped on it, yes.
Cameras to the set and all that.
Oh man, we're really grateful for that. Really grateful. But at this point, we have to take a quick, short break, and we will be right back. Stay tuned. All right, we are back with the Danjumas, and we are talking about brain health and brain challenges in kids. Now remember, we are not giving medications. We absolutely do not give medications. We leave that to the pediatricians and to the neurologists. Our job is simply to support the brain and the body with the right nutrients. And remember, we are dealing with building blocks. Nutrients are building blocks. And once you give the body and the brain the right building blocks, the body and brain will do the work of reconstituting, of repairing, of restoring, of regenerating, to bring you back to what the normal should be. And this doesn't just apply in kids, it applies in adults as well. And remember, we are backed by the federal government to do this. So we're not just rogue agents out there. So I don't want to waste too much more time, because I want to hear more of your story. You were saying something recently now, some of the recent developments you've seen in your kid.
Yeah, more importantly right now, before, he couldn't get up from his sleep by himself to even sit up.
From his bed, you mean?
From his bed,
okay.
Yeah. But right now he can get up, sit up, stand up without holding anything, and even go to wherever he wants. Like, if he's in the room alone, he can walk to the kitchen to his mom by himself, calling, you know. So
and this is how recent did you start noticing this?
It's from last year.
From last year?
Yes.
2 months ago, 3 months ago?
It's up to 6 months now.
Up to 6 months ago?
Yes.
Okay.
So then again, as he could do all these things, he couldn't talk, and we thought of maybe going to a speech therapist or something of that nature. So just by the time we were talking about this and planning on when to go, the next day the boy started talking, and he was calling me daddy. I was like, wow. So this boy doesn't want to go to any speech therapist.
He's kind of understood that you guys were trying to send him off somewhere.
Yeah, so he just started calling daddy. The next thing, he's trying to call his elder brother, Dominic. He's trying to call Domina. I was like, okay. So you could talk all this while you just decided to keep quiet.
How's his speech now?
No, he communicates very well.
Yes.
He communicates very well. You ask him a question, he answers you, and he wants something, he will tell you. Yeah, even if you don't get some of the words clearly, but when he says, when he repeats, you will definitely get what he's saying.
I see.
Yeah.
Another thing we noticed, folks, and we've learned a great deal too from these conditions. But another thing we noticed is that many kids, their teeth aren't developed in time. So if a child is like 1 year old, he might have also 2 teeth because of the brain dam, the delayed milestones. But once we start giving them the nutrients, there's almost it just accelerates. It picks up really, really, really rapidly. And of course, the speech and other things. Not all speech problems are due to the brain problems. So it could be due to hearing problems. It could be even due to a physical defect in the tongue and all that. But in most cases, we've seen a lot has to do with the brain. And once we can improve brain function, it goes a long way. Now, let me ask you this. You've been coming for how long? About a year plus, right? Yeah. How much have we taken? How much money has the Brain and Body Foundation taken from you?
Nothing. It's absolutely free.
Wow! Yes. No way. That can't be possible. No.
In fact, that was what moved me to make that offer, to be bringing cameras to cover your events and stuff like that.
Wow. Okay, so as we're talking about all this, I'm thinking the people that you, Mirabel, have interacted with, and I've seen them gravitate. It's like people just gravitate towards you, and they just want to hear your story, and they want to maybe encourage them and things like that. So, any examples, any stories you want to share with us and the audience?
Yes. So most of the parents, when they see my child, they'll be like, "Madam, you need to take this boy home. There's nothing wrong with him." I'll be like, "You need to see him before we started coming here. This is actually the way he is." And when I share my experience with them, and they see the way the boy has improved, they'll be like, "This actually what happened to their baby." I'll be like, "Continue coming. Is this medication that we've been taking, this supplement that we've been taking, that make this boy to become the way you're seeing him now?" But if you continue, they'll be like, for how long have you started coming here? I'll explain to them. They'll be like, "Okay, that means it's okay." Like one woman, Miss Margaret, so she was like, "Okay, since my child is actually like this," because the child is the same thing. He was even older than my son, but as of that time, he can't even sit down. But right now, when I call her on the phone, because we do chat on WhatsApp, she'll tell me that right now the boy is also in school.
Wow.
Yes. And
so he's walking and...
No, he's not actually walking now, but he can stand up, he can sit up. But before, he can't sit up. And he can't even talk, he can't do anything. He's just there lying down as if, sorry for using this word, as an imbecile. You know how they behave. So that was actually how the boy was behaved that time. But now she would come and she would tell me, now this boy recognizes my voice. As in, when I talk, he's turning to know where I am.
Wow.
As in, he now recognizes the mom's voice. But unlike before, he's just as if he's lifeless lying down there. But right now there's improvement to the extent that the mom has to put him in school. And she told me that the boy can sit up now, he can start talking, make you understand what he's trying to say. But I keep on telling her, okay, continue, because me I've not stopped to. Even if it takes me 10 years, I'll continue coming to Brain and Body Foundation, because until I see my boy is okay, the way I want him to be, before I'll stop. So that is just it.
And that's fantastic and good. And I want to applaud both of you for your tenacity, really, because it's not easy. We have parents coming in from way out of town, Kuje and onwards, and just because of their kids. Again, it's mostly the mothers, but we see fathers too come in as well. So it's very, very important. And it's not an immediate process. Medications sometimes usually work a lot faster. This is my experience. Supplements, nutraceuticals, nutrients, they work a lot slower because the body has to take them in and then use them as building blocks and rebuild the body. Remember, our catchphrase is building strength. So the body has to take that and reconstitute and repair what needs to be repaired. Do you have any words of advice for parents who are going through such experience?
Of course I do. The word of advice is, don't give up, no matter what is it. Because when I was struggling with this boy at that tender age, even the doctor, most of them told me, but I just have to bear it. Anyhow, you see this boy, he might not talk, he might not walk. You know how most of doctors...
Wait. The doctor said that he might not...
Yes, he might not talk, he might not walk, he might not... they told me maybe he might be imbecile, as in... But when I looked at him, I was like, he's not dripping, as in spit dripping from his mouth. So I know that imbecile, they always drip.
They drool
and nothing like that. I was like, no. They told, every time I go, they'll say, Madam, please, this baby, for him to survive, that's a day old. Before, as they brought him to the hospital, he's a miracle child. In fact, in the hospital, they used to call him Miracle. Up till now, if I go there, Miracle, how are you? All those, you know. But I was like, no, this is not my child. You speak positive to your child. It's not because the doctor say he can't do this, you just grab it and say, after all, you relax, that the doctor say he can't do this. So when you take the bold step, go to the right medication, you see that everything will be okay within time.
Fantastic. Yes, sir.
And also, sometimes you get different kind of comments from people, family, neighbors, or whatever, saying, this is a spiritual issue, you have to go to this spiritualism. I'm like, okay, if my child has a spiritual issue, then I don't have a problem because I'm not a spiritualist. Then God will handle it. But right now, my son is diagnosed of something. I have to go treat this thing. I can't stand here and be accepting comments like he has a spiritual problem. No. So you parents have to know what's wrong with your kids. Take that step. Go to the right place.
Search for answers.
Yes. And then again, early detection, pay attention to your children, whatever the case. That night, if I wasn't awake, we wouldn't have noticed that this boy was having a seizure.
Right.
We could have been, maybe wake up in the morning and discover his dead body. So I was so, not at rest. I was on my toes and I noticed what happened.
That's a very, 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 very important point. Thank you guys so much. They're screaming at us that the time is up. But I think it was really important that we heard those last pieces of advice, because it's critical that people know this. We're going to have to wrap it up here and shut it down. But thank you so much for joining us on this show, and thank you again, Mr. and Mrs. Dominic, for coming over. Listen, it has been a great experience. We will see you next week. God bless and have a great week.
You can